time to be alone. Kids distracted, wifey on the phone. Slip out the back door with my car keys. If I don't leave now, someone will try and find me. It's different this time right now, solo. I have the perfect plan, nowhere to go. Cruising down the highway, not doing more than 70.
Welcome to another episode of the If You Cook I'll Clean podcast. It's been a while, guys, but trust me, it's well worth the wait. We have a special guest in the house. He is a nurse, he's a father, he's a thought leader, he's also a truth teller. And I'm proud to call him my friend. Although we haven't spoken in quite some time, when we did speak, we caught up right where we left off at. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the If You Cook I'll Clean podcast, Mr. Todd. How are you, brother?
I can't call it. It's good to be alive.
Good, man. Good. So, when you reached out to me, it was, refreshing to say the least. To speak to someone who, is truly genuine. I know oftentimes individuals, may not speak for a while, or, the ties may be broken in many respects. But once we started talking, man, it was very refreshing. And I want to tell you, if you haven't heard it, I'm proud of all of the accomplishments that you've made thus far. I know you're working to be a provider right now. That's a huge accomplishment. You're going to be a part of a very small percentage of individuals as a provider. And I just want to tell you, congratulations if you haven't heard it so far, my brother.
I so appreciate you.
Absolutely.
It's kind of funny that there's people that you meet in your life that has that impact on you. Never quite goes away. They're kind of in the back of your head going, that's somebody I need to reach out to. It was years, brother, but I never lost focus. Never thought that I wouldn't see you again. So I'm glad that we were able to reconnect.
I appreciate that. And now that we got that shit out of the way, so as you know, this is based on the book that I wrote a couple of years ago. We don't have to dive deep in any of the stories because honestly, I have some questions for you, and I know, you're going to be able to give a really good perspective. So, not that this particular episode is just going to be a little bit different. Like
Let's go.
some of those chapters, we're not even going to touch on. We're just going to talk about life and
Let's go.
and from a male's perspective, your experience and how your experience has been, with women in general. So the first question that I want to ask you for our listening audience is, why do you believe that some relationships just don't work? And let me preface this by saying, we know that the divorce rate is climbing, right? We know that people, and I've talked about this on the show previously, but we know people get married for the wrong reasons, whether it be for money, whether it be for security, whether it be for sex, whether it be for a number of things. Individuals get married for the wrong reasons. But from your experience, right, and from your wealth of knowledge, why do you think relationships don't work?
I don't think we start out with the right understanding.
Okay.
Most of our understanding about how relationships work is what's given to us by our parents or by the people in our circle. What I can tell you is that the other issue is that people don't ask the right questions early. mostly because nobody wants to screw it up. You know, you got that honeymoon period while before you get married. They call it dating, right? And so we all align because we put our best foot forward and show them things that we're not, we can't be consistent about. Funny thing that the other day I was talking to a good friend of mine and I said, if a dude takes you out 5 days a week and you end up marrying that guy, do you expect him to have money when you get married?
Hmm.
And she said, I never thought about that. I said, yes. You can't give it. I said, because really, I said, what is the thing that drives men usually is conquest, companionship when you're older. But when you first start out, it is the box, not what's in the box.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So if I heard you correctly, and I did,
Mm.
it's more about the chase in the beginning and how we can, or not we, but how men in general are able to conquer that particular woman.
Oh, I hate that word, conquer. Because the truth be told, we don't conquer them.
Okay.
They conquer us. If you've been to a club or a spot, church, anywhere you've been, by the time you make eye contact, she saw you coming through the door. She decided before you even stepped to her that she was going to do what she was going to do with you. And if nothing else, it is explore you. So we're not the conquerors. We're actually the conquest.
Oh, wow. And can you expand on that last point that you made in terms of we're more concerned about what's in the box?
Well, I think we grow and we start because what happens is that I don't care how good sex is when you first have it. Generally speaking, it diminishes over time. So it kind of does the bell-shaped curve. You start and it's exciting because it's new. You keep moving along, it gets comfortable, and it's just, that comfortable place to lay your head, so to speak. You peak out, and then at some point, it starts to come down the other end. Why? Because then it becomes a physiological need, not a pleasure, because psychologically we involved. It is really becoming a physical piece, unless, unless the dynamic is maintained. And again, if you start out lying, usually you have to keep that lie up, right? And so when a woman meets a guy, she assesses him from head to toe, just like a nurse. She decides based on his shoes or his watch or his smile whether or not this is somebody she would have a sexual or romantic encounter with. Notice what I said. The word was encounter, not relationship. The relationship becomes paramount and tantamount for them, I think, once other people get involved and that time clock in their head starts clicking. When people start seeing you enough, when families start asking for you, that is usually, or girlfriends start getting married or having babies, and they feel that crush that this dude now, the one that you went after, is now playing games with you. They're not serious. They're not making decisions and all that kind of wonderful stuff, as if we have the same clock. Bruh, I don't want to make it religious or spiritual or anything like that, but I have often wondered why women don't understand what we know inherently, right? Bro, we can make semen, we can make sperm for our entire life. They are born with a finite number of eggs that are only good for a finite period of time. And so if that doesn't inform them, and I'm talking about even on a, how do I say, an innate way, in a natural way, that they don't even realize that they're being taken over by social pressure, but also something internal that's telling them in order to have a baby and to still maintain your status in society, then you have to make sure that this person that you've already vetted, good looking, make enough money, whatever it is, or fix them before it's too late, and that you've invested this time with no return on investment.
That's deep, brother. I knew you could get deep. And that reminds me, before I ask my next question, I was having a conversation over the weekend with a young lady who I actually started in the industry with many years ago when I owned a couple of barbershops. But one of the things that she said that kind of struck my interest was that she said, you know, women are still having babies in their 50s and 60s. And I'm thinking to myself, that may be true. However, just like you mentioned, those eggs have an expiration date. You know what I mean? And that's not like, you know, the average. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
that number, I'm sure, is fairly low. So,
Hmm.
but that's what you just reminded me of. I think, some people, I don't want to generalize, but especially certain females, right? They have this idea that they have, you know, a lot of time on their hands. You know what I mean? In terms of their time is never going to run out. So you mentioned, in prime example, you mentioned to me when we reconnected that you had a friend, right, who he's been married 3 times. Out of
And
those
still,
3 times, he still has yet to find a wife.
wife.
You
Right.
hear me?
Yes, a wife. That is correct.
Expand on
And
that, because
okay,
I
so
had to think about that when you said that.
yeah, so it is like think about it this way. You, as a kid, you went and got your driver's license, right? You had to study a book, you had to do some parking, you had to drive straight, right? So the state of Carolina gave you a certification that you have basic understanding. You can't go out to the racetrack after first getting your license and perform. You just can't. So that is, you are permitted to learn more, not just permitted. They're called practice for a reason, right? And so every day, you may not be aware of it or conscious about it, but when you drive, you're practicing being a better driver. You're practicing with your alertness. You're practicing cornering. You're practice avoidance of obstacles that are dangerous. See what I'm saying? And so when the brother, and it was my commentary to him that you've been married 3 times and you still don't have a wife, because a wife is a helpmeet. That is someone who understands and not just tolerate, but accepts that you are what you are in the moment. That where you going, she has no idea, but she says, I'm still here for the ride. And so if you marry somebody the first time and they don't perform, and I hate to use the word, I'm gonna find another word, but we'll come back to that.
Right.
But if they don't deliver on the promises, whether verbalized or so, let's just say marriage is a promise in the contract. The question is, what's written in the contract, right? Nobody sits down and write this contract out, but we have some basic understanding that my expectation is that I'm going to need to and should want to take care of you, and you're going to need to and want to take care of me, because without that, we're stuck. You heard that expression, I can do bad all by myself? I don't need you to wash my underpants if I can wash them myself. What else do you bring to the table? What else do you have for me that's going to help me to grow? What else, or how else are you going to inspire me to feel the way I did on the day that I told the world and God that I wanted you forever? What else do you have? And so for that brother, he kept marrying the same girl. It wasn't the same girl physically, but he kept marrying the same thing because he was actually speaking to his own soul. And one of the things that I said to him in that conversation was, brother, have you considered that it's you? Because I said, all three of these women are wrong. I said, I think what has happened is that you haven't gotten to the place where you know how to ask for what you need and help her to understand what you want. And so 3 times, and I wouldn't call him a 3 time loser, because where I'm from, I was taught that you either win or you learn. In the perfect circumstances, you win and you learn. And so he didn't learn anything because he kept marrying the younger version of the same person. So let's just say he started out with somebody in his age group. He got older, still wanted the girl with the Coca-Cola bottle shake, kept marrying down. And I'm going, bro, you're going in the wrong direction. It has nothing
Mm-hmm.
to do with time. It has everything to do with experience and wisdom.
Right.
Because you know that knowledge, people use the word knowledge and wisdom interchangeably. They're not interchangeable. Knowledge is, hey, I know it's a guy sitting in front of me with a pair of headphones and grayed out in his beard. Wisdom is that thing that you take knowledge and do something with, right? So basically, it is, I know what it is, but I also know what to do with it or what not to do with it. That's wisdom. So, in my estimation, no offense to the brother, if he should view this, I don't think he's arrived at the place where he understands that nobody can complete you. that you have to complete yourself. However, people can enhance your experience. And again, the things that you willing to do, like to do, or will do, if you have that covered, what do you need that other person to repeat the business, to do the same thing you've done twice? Now, it is a pleasure and a privilege when somebody takes over your burdens or takes something off your back. But I think we're programmed from the factory of God differently than women. And so our estimation is that we are not just what we look like, it's who we are, but what can we deliver? We've been taught that. And I think it might be hardwired too that any man looking in the mirror assesses himself by what he can bring to the table, right? Not what he is, and we got to get away from that. We got to go, yeah, but also what we are. So, what happens when you meet somebody like he did that does have their own money, doesn't really need them? How then does he describe or circumscribe his relationship with himself and his interaction or his dynamic called marriage with a significant other? And therein lies part of the problem. Well, she's changing because her hormones are changing, because I am absolutely certain, because of my nursing background, that we have similar experiences in puberty, right? Similar experience. It just manifests itself differently, meaning that you give me an 18-year-old guy and I tell you if a wind blows across his front part, right, he's going to get a stiffy, right? At some point, we manage that because our testosterone level goes down, right? And we start to think more. Instead, we're not just primitive behavior. It is something that is way more thoughtful, because we know now that just because it felt good don't mean it is good. And I'm not talking about the sexual experience or the sexual encounter, but going, what did I pay for that experience, right? Is it that now I got to go take out the garbage and paint the house? And what did I pay for that experience? And was it worth it? And the answer is, once you've gotten some life under your belt, it's not worth it for that reason. Am I making sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's
So,
yeah, it's not worth it for that reason. It's like, I want to make love to you now, right? I was drilling you before because it was a physical need, just like urination, just like defecation. It was a physical need. Now, what we know is that when you have some maturity, when you understand what the value of your emotions, and you have uh, intercourse with a woman, long after it's over, you still feeling, you still vibing like, oh my God, because it's just not just a physical exchange anymore. It is a physical with an emotional component. And as we mature, not necessarily age, but as we mature, that becomes more important to us, right? And listen, we're going to keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck, right? So, first time you probably had oral sex, because it was brand new, he's like, what was that? Wow. Right. And then 10 years later, different people doing different things. You're going, it's just part of the package. And every once in a while, you find a grand wizard, a Corinne Steffens, right, who's into you and going, I want to make this boy feet curl up. You feel me? You understand what I'm saying?
okay,
I
man.
keeping it a buck, man.
I ain't
Who's
quite
that truth teller, right?
heard that analogy before, but
Yeah.
I can appreciate your analogy. But
Okay.
yeah, with that being said, some women would probably want to know at what age. I know you can't answer for everybody or every
Mm-hmm.
man, but typically or generally, from your observation, um, from your experience, what do you think is that particular age where men start pivoting and shifting in a different direction, meaning not thinking with their other head and thinking
It's
with
a
the one
range,
that's on the
brother.
neck.
Eli, it's a range. It really is a range. It's not. I don't think it's as age dependent or time dependent as is the range. And normally, what happens is you got to get busted up a little bit.
Right.
Have some bad relationships or relationships that don't satisfy you, and at some point, you start to do the self analysis. But also, you have the ability to look at somebody else and look at their shortcomings or their fault, or even they're not faults. They don't work with you. They're not the key to your lock.
Right.
And so when we start becoming conscious of time, the passage of time is usually when we start becoming mature and we start to pivot, right? And what I say by that is that, when you're in college and you're a freshman, you, you could swing, turn around and just hold your hand out and you'll slap a dime, right?
Right.
You will literally bump into a dime. But as life changes, those dimes become what? 8 cents, 7 cents, and then you have to look for other things in them other than the size of their breast or the size of their waist or their bottom, right?
Right.
Also, usually there is some kind of inflection that happens when we have trauma in our life as men. And if that woman or a woman is around when we're having our trauma and they support us through the trauma, we don't know it, but guilt or gratefulness, one of the G's, guilt or gratefulness or gratitude, makes us look at them differently and see them in a different light. In fact, my brother, God bless him, he was dating a girl about 7, 8 years, and she would call me and say, "I love this man. What do I have to do to make him marry me?" I said, "You can't make him, right?" Well, he's a cop. He fell on the job chasing a bad guy. Boom, boom, boom. Had to have some back surgery, right? All of a sudden, he's gonna get married. He calls me up. He calls me black, like black man. He's black. Let me tell you something. Yeah, I'm gonna marry this girl. I said, "Oh yeah." I said, "Last week you weren't. You were just sitting on it thinking about it." What happened?
Hmm.
And he said, "Dog, this is how he said it to me. This is a quote. He said, "Dog, you know what it is to not be able to wipe your own bottom?" I said, "Nah." He said, "Well, when I had the surgery, I couldn't wipe myself." He said, "That girl took a hot cloth and cleaned me up." He said, "That to me told me everything I need to know." So, now we old dudes, right? None of us got any hair left, right? My line back here, he gone in the middle, right? And so I said to him, um, "Let me ask you a question." He goes, "What?" I said, "If that trauma didn't happen, that changed your life, changed the trajectory of your life, changed your career options and opportunities, would you have done it?" He said, "Yeah, but not when I did it." You see me? Okay.
Okay.
So the next question, the follow up question was, "Are you happy that you did it?" And he said, "Yeah, we have more good days than bad days, right?" And I said, "Would you use the word happy?" And he goes, "Yeah." You hear the reluctance? I said, "Let me tell you something, brother. You older than me. You've been around." I said, "I probably had more chicks than you, but you've been around." And I said, "I'm saying this because happiness is like getting high or having an orgasm, right? It's a momentary thing." I said, "What you want is the stability of being joyful. That is a state of being, right? That means she can't give it to you, she can't take it away from you. So when she has her attitudes, or you didn't do something right, or the world's not working out for her," I said, "You're not tripping because you're going, she can help, but she can't change my general state, general status, my general feelings." And I think that is probably the most powerful telltale signs of whether or not two people are going to make it.
Wow. Now let me ask you this: Are they still married? I heard you
Yeah,
say God bless him, so I wasn't
yeah,
sure if he was still with us
yeah,
or not.
yeah. Shoot, he's my role model, man. I
Oh,
mean,
good.
I want to grow up and be him one day and not do it the way he did it. But
You don't
I
want to
mean,
wait that
everybody
long,
wants.
man, until
Hmm?
something happens. You don't want to wait until.
No, no, but listen, I also know that I'm at the stage in my life where I can live by myself. Because if I need human touch, I know where to get it. If I need companionship, I got those. I can do that. If I need money, I got friends and family. You get what I'm saying? So for me, there's no press or pressure to move in that direction, right? It is all about whether or not the person completes me, what is their value to me growing to the end of my life?
And have you
Growing.
have you met that special one before, or has there been
I have.
anyone who you?
I,
Okay.
I, I've met them. I have met different people at different times in my life, and that also is a
Mhm.
telltale sign. Because I'm going, what I wanted at 25, I don't need at 30. I want something new. I need something new at 30. Same thing at 40, 50, 60. And to me, that's the increment right there. Every decade, we either reinvent ourselves or lose part of ourselves.
Wow. Okay. So another question I have for you is, I don't know your status, but I can assume that you're single, right?
On
You're
Tuesday,
reluctant
Wednesdays,
to
and
answer.
Fridays.
Tuesday,
Listen, you
Wednesdays. What's today, Tio?
listen.
Today, Wednesday.
Tuesday,
Oh, you
Wednesdays, and
single
Fridays.
today then? Okay,
Damn right.
that's what's up. Okay, okay. So let me ask you this,
Yeah, man.
because I
Yeah.
know you are in a very delicate market, if you will, as it relates to dating. I don't particularly want to name the city that you're in, but
Thank you.
you're welcome. So, from your perspective as a single man, how is the dating market? Meaning, I know people are on the internet; they're dating, through these
I'm old
sites.
school dude, man.
There you go.
Listen,
That's what
I
I'm
was
trying
taught
to
to hunt.
get to.
I was taught to hunt.
Okay.
To me, to be able to get on your handheld computer, that's what we
Yeah.
call them phones in my age group, and to do this and swipe left. It's the same thing that I was talking about earlier. Does she have her breast large enough? Is she wrinkle free? Right. But can I tell you, at this stage of the game, there's a lot
You
of
will take
people that are
some
out.
wrinkled breast. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying sometimes you do what you got to do, man. We Machiavellian, man. What they say, some poem is better than no poem. Come on,
Okay.
man. Stop
Hey,
playing.
hey.
Yeah, yeah.
If
But
that's
what I can
where
tell
you
you is
are in your
that
life.
there you are. But
Okay.
again, this is another point of inflection. This is a pivot point, right?
Okay.
Because you have to think about it this way. Most of the women who qualify for marriage, and I don't get to decide what qualification is, right?
Okay.
Except for me.
Right.
Except for me. For those women who wanted to get married, most of them did, right?
Mm.
It's a couple of old maids, but spinsters, whatever you want to call them. But a good portion of them that wanted it, even if they had to go beneath their quote unquote standards.
Hmm.
Oh, he has nice teeth and a good strong jaw. Maybe when you got around to wanting a permanent partner, um, there was no, nice teeth and strong jaws. That was the guy with two in his mouth and a
Absolutely.
cigarette hanging out of the two. And you go,
Absolutely.
some company is better than no company, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, one of my good sisters, she's on her third marriage, right?
Okay.
And can I tell you, she said to me before she brought the last one in, she brought him, she imported him. She imported his brother. She said to me, he's nothing to look at
From where?
from the islands.
Oh, okay.
She said, he's not. I said, you do realize if you marry this man, the 10 years that it used to be is over, right? She said, what? I said, it used to be if you brought somebody in from a foreign country, you were responsible for them for 10 years. Now it's for life,
I didn't
right?
know that.
Yeah, they changed the immigration status, a rule, right? So I'm sure if you get your citizenship, that changes. But
Even
as
if they
long as they're not a
divorce?
citizen, even if they get divorced, if they stay here, but jump the visa, get in trouble, get sick, they calling you and you have to pay, and they make you sign an affidavit to make sure that you understand that.
Get out of
So
here.
this sister, I said,
Say, get out of here. I didn't know that.
yeah, man, yes, sir. So this young lady, well, she's not so young, she's 50 now, but I guess it's 46, 47. She was when she imported. Her father said to me, why she got imported. It's plenty of dudes look like that, and and that status right here. She just need to get tore out the frame. You feel me? The father said it to me. Yeah, man. But anyway, she tells me the story. He's nothing to look at, but he's a nice guy, right?
Okay.
Stay with me.
I'm listening.
That nice guy understood. Hey, he had for him. She's a dime.
Absolutely.
Number one. Number two is this could change my economic future,
Mm-hmm.
and it did.
Yeah.
And number three, all I gotta do is be able to keep her
Right.
right.
For now.
So yeah, as life would have it, the girl or woman who said he was nothing to look at, he's just a nice guy, and she wanted companionship. I happened to run up on him one day,
Mm.
unexpectedly. They was in my town
Mm.
visiting, and she was laying across him like he was Denzel in his prime.
Oh, wow.
What's the brother name? The brother who used to do the modeling thing with the bald head, Jamaican dude.
The who
Modeling.
now?
Remember the guy, Tyson Beckford?
Oh,
She was
okay.
laying across him like he was Tyson Beckford. Brother, when I tell you, his stomach looked like two front porches. So what she said, so what she said was initially true, but I think because she knows that her opportunities are limited now, that she allowed herself to be seduced by kindness and attention and affection, and you know what I mean?
Right.
Things that 10 years ago she'd have said, hell no, I listen, that's my baby daddy. Right? So it's amazing how they change. We change too.
Right.
And so, normally we get caught. If we're gonna do, we get caught early. A friend of mine met a guy he's 64 now, right? But when he was 55, he's a retired fire captain from Connecticut. His paper was endless, right? She met the guy and da da da. And she, me and her was rolling. She was actually producing some work for me, right? She came to me and told me, he's a guy from Connecticut just like you. I said, not like me. He's a guy from, not like me, right? And so I said to her, what's your purpose? Because she was like 2 years older than he was. And I said, what is the purpose of this interaction with this brother? And she says, well, we're just dating right now. I said, I know you too well. You got that Fred Flintstone, look, eyes big like this. And I said, yo, slow your roll. Let me tell you something. Because I said, I'm not a hater, right? I said, I know you've been lonely and you probably need to get gutted, right? Because we talk like that. I said, I get that. Get gutted, have some fun. I said, but let me just tell you, no dude 58 years old, never been married, had kids, want to get married. Or I said, because if you want to do any of those things, by 58, you would have done it,
Absolutely.
right? Now, it's the 10, I don't know, you hear about the 10-10-80 rule?
No.
I'm about to tell it to you. So in business, I got the MBA. That's the only
Okay.
thing they taught
Okay.
me. But the 10-10, it's psychological too. 10-10-80 would say 10% of the people will do anything you tell them to do. 10%, I don't care if God told them to do, they're not doing. Most of us are the 80% in the middle, right? And those 10% on both ends polarize us. So we'll kind of slip over to one side and then slip back over to the other side. But most of us are reasonable in the middle. And I said, ask your girlfriends if they would date a guy 58 years. I mean, I don't want to talk about date, but kind of look at him like he's going to be that guy. I said, never had a kid, never been married. I said, those are choices now. Because you're not going to tell me a fire captain, if he looked like you punched him in the face with a tire iron, fire captain with a big pension, saved all his money, never had to take care of anybody but himself. I'm going, he papered up.
Right.
So even if he wasn't handsome, and he was a good looking guy, but even if he wasn't, I'm going, he got options, particularly in certain cities around the country, Houston, Texas, LA, where there is definitely an opportunity for single dudes to have fun,
Right.
right? New York, I mean, he's from New York right there. I did New York. I did New York,
Right.
right? So I'm going, if he's not married, he's not going to marry you. I'm just telling you. I said, now, I could be wrong. He could be one of them 10%ers. But I said, what is the likelihood of that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you want with me? I said, what he wants with everybody. That's his MO. I said, not hating on him, but his MO is he sees women broke down on the side of the road. He does the fire captain thing. Ma'am, can I help you? Boom, boom, boom. Next thing you know, finger foods and cocoa, right? Finger foods and cocoa, right? Netflix and chill, as the kids say, right? Okay. So guess what? I saw her probably about 3 months ago. And I said, where's my man at? Oh, he's still around. I said, around how? You know, he moved on, but
Of
it
course.
keeps her in the back pocket.
Of course.
Things get a little rough. Yo, what you do?
Right.
The after 10 clock call. You
Right.
know what I mean? What you do? You need me to come through? Real talk. Been there, done it. Got a T-shirt, right?
Right.
But I'm going. It really depends. Back to your question. It depends on whether or not you've had trauma. Most of us have somewhere in our lives, right? Where we are financially, economically, we still chasing that bone, right? And then some dudes, remember the 10%, one of those 10% group? Some dudes never grow up. That's the MO. There's like, okay, that is my capital. That's wealth for me that I can get all of these people to come through and break me off. And you go, well, I know a guy. I said, yeah, I told you that 10 will do 10% will do anything, 10% will do nothing, but most of the 80% in the middle. How many people really don't want companionship? And listen, you only have to fall down in your house one time or feel like you got a chest pain or anything and go, I'm by myself, right? And you're trying to call or I don't have to happen one time. Or you get locked up for riding fast on a motorcycle and you go, dog, my brother's out of town, out of the country. I can't get him. Who can I call? And then you start thinking about things like that. But I think That has not, again, very little to do with age and everything to do with maturity and how you rode this wave called life.
Absolutely, man. That's a great perspective. So I think we're in the middle portion of the show. Guys, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this channel as well. We're going to have great content moving forward, even, more guests like we have today. So, tell me this, brother. Um, don't know if you've ever been married before, but do you think
I have.
you have? Oh,
I
okay.
have.
Do you think you'll ever do it again?
I don't think.
Okay.
I'm one of those people. Yeah, I'm at the stage in my life where I'm going. If it does, it does. But I'm not looking for anything
Okay.
except good friends, you know, and company, and somebody to travel with when I decide. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just one of those. Because here's the thing, and this is kind of funny. I had this conversation recently. I'm working on a book too, by the way, a new
Right.
one. Um,
And you have a book out also, and we can
I
talk about that. And
yeah, I have a couple books out, but
okay,
we're not going to talk about that's the past. We're going to move to the future now,
fine. That's
or
fine.
the present future.
That's fine.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it though. Um, but one of the titles of my previous book was "Don't Let Oprah Get Your Ass in Trouble," and I think that it is probably a good idea to talk about it here. I was watching TV. Susie Orman, the Money Honey, was on. That's what
Mm-hmm.
she called herself, not what I called her. And she was telling the audience, the Oprah audience, and viewing audience, and the studio audience, ladies, you need to take control of your finances, right? And so I thought about it, and she was saying all this stuff, and everything she said was right on point, except one thing: she didn't frame it. It wasn't put in context. And so what happened was, I am absolutely certain a whole bunch of women saw 40 minutes of television. If you back out the commercials, right? 40 minutes of television and went to their husbands who always did the books. Susie Orman, Oprah says, I need to take over finances. Oh, whoa, whoa, you can, but let's walk you up. let's not do this willy nilly. Let's be, decent and in order about this. And it caused a great upheaval in a lot of people's lives. And so I wrote the book, Don't Let Oprah Get Your Ass in Trouble. It's still out there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and by the way, it's fiction. That one was fictional. The next book is going to be nonfiction. But it was me saying, you have to have a background. You just can't hear soundbite and decide you're going to live your life that way. And I think that a lot of mothers, I'm not ding. I got a mother, I have a, so I love women. I'm a lesbian. I'm a lover. I'm a lover of women, but I got to tell you, as part of this conversation, this is where I was going with it, is that I had the opportunity to interview my own mother, and I said to her, Mom, when I was getting ready to get divorced, the first time I actually verbalized it to her, she says, "You sure?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure." And she goes, "I was wondering how long it was going to take you."
Hmm.
And then she said, "You and your brother are pussy whipped." My mother said that out loud.
Get out
And
of
I said,
here.
"What do you mean?" But yeah, honest to God, she said it. But what had happened is that my father, God rest his soul, he passed, so I could talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
My father had not been a great husband.
Okay.
And so my mother was the breadwinner, and she did everything, right?
Right.
But what she did was she approximated manhood in raising my brother and I, but we saw what she went through and said, individually, without talking to each other, anybody else, I would never treat my girl, my wife, my woman, the way she was treated,
Right.
right? And so probably went too far with it,
Right.
because after it was over, she was the same one going, "How you let that happen? Why'd you didn't do?" That kind of thing. And I'm going, you know what? There's something to explore, right? And so this is what I'm talking about with the new book that's coming. So I said to her, "You raised your daughters to be independent, self-supporting, self-satisfying." And I said, your message, the verbal message to them was, "You don't need a man." I said, "But you knew that was a lie from the pit of hell, right?" And she goes, "Well, I didn't at the time." I said, "Well, you did, but you never went back and corrected it, right?" So the reason that I bring it up, because I'm going, but she didn't realize she made us sensitive and caring maybe to a fault. That's why she was saying my brother and I were pussy whipped, right? And I'm going, no, we just saw what, and like that. All right. I'm going, make a decision. Which one is it? So, because if you raised your daughter to do the things that you didn't do, right? Meaning you were somewhat dependent for a while, and that with the disappointment of your husband not producing in the way that you wanted him to made you aggressive and go get it. However, now you're sitting on paper. She's 85. She's sitting on paper, and I promise you, she'd give all her money away to a guy if he can make her feel good right now, right? So you raised your son to be your husband, or to find somebody or be with somebody like you who was trying to do the right thing but didn't have it. But you raised your daughter to have nobody, because this is what we're finding out. So I'm knocking on 60 now, right? I'm knocking on 60. And I promise you,
It's been that long?
it's been that long, bro.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
knocking on 60, and I promise you, every day, some woman is pushing up, right? And they driving the Benz and the Jaguars and the Bentley coupes, and I'm telling you, they pushing up. And what they don't even ask you what you do for a living, because they realize now somebody taught them that.
Mm-hmm.
Go get it for yourself, girl. No, so you didn't make a child because you was hunting down that money. I ain't mad at you,
Mm-hmm.
but now you desperate for companionship, and you settled, or sometimes you settle for the janitor. Nothing wrong with the janitor, but the janitor's not used to your lifestyle.
Right.
So when you find a guy or person, dude, that really can hold their own, they ain't necessarily trying to pay your bills, right?
Right.
But can hold their own and can do the Maldives with you, or do, Dubai with you. You know what I mean? Bali with you, and you don't have to come out of your wallet. You going, damn, I hit the jackpot, and that guy's going, but I did what you want me to do with other people. Now I just want the companionship, a little bit of Nuki, and somebody to go, look at Mount Everest. I never thought I'd see that in person. So for me, I'm going,
Mm-hmm.
why would anybody my age be interested in the written commitment? Because we commit here first, right? Just like when we break up before we break up. A
Mm-hmm.
long time before the ink is dry, we done.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Same thing with love. You know what I mean? It's like,
Right.
you want to get married. Why? Because of what? Because you want that commitment. For what? What is the reason you want the commitment? Because I can commit right now. Well, when you're married financially, you can write a contract and go, should I die, this person gets this percentage of my assets, right? So what do they normally do? They resort to the God thing, right? Well, God wants me married. Yeah, he also didn't want you to be effing out of marriage, right? Out the marital
Mm-hmm.
bonds, but you did that. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
going, I can give you commitment without marrying you, because divorce was bad. And if I knew divorce was as
Yeah.
bad as it could get, I'd go,
Absolutely.
hell no,
Yeah,
right?
man.
Can we just be friends and live together, screw? And I'll write your contract for the rent, the this, the that, the above. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then it expires certain time under certain conditions,
Right.
right? Yeah. And so now people are starting to come around to that thought process, right? And I'm not telling you it's right or it's
Mm-hmm.
right for anybody or everybody.
Right.
What I'm saying it is an available thought now.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're going, I have to marry you to get in your underpants or to get in your
Hmm.
house, then you're gonna be lonely.
I know that's
Because
right.
there 20 others who going, come on, daddy, don't worry about that.
And in some region, 1,000 others.
Well, I listen. I want to grow up and be good looking like you, man. I only got what I have, bro. I can only work with. I only got what I got.
Get out of here, man. You tripping. You don't even need that no more from what I
Real
see.
talk.
Hell, and
Yeah.
the least attractive you are in terms of appearance, it seems more appealing to some women these days.
Well, I agree with you wholeheartedly. In fact, I would tell you, one of my nephews, both my nephews, are handsome dudes, right? My
Mm.
son's good looking too. There, don't get it twisted.
Right.
But these dudes are 6'5", 6'6", easy.
Mm-hmm.
With the look, the fair complected with the curly hair and the straight
Mm-hmm.
nose. They those guys, right?
Okay.
The twin towers. And I promise you, I was having a conversation with the oldest of the two, and I said, "Man, I remember when I was good looking, right?" I said, "That's so far away, so remote now. I can't make you understand." I said, "But bruh, can I tell you, you better use your looks while you can, because I said at some point it's going away."
Right.
I said, "But what I can tell you is that being attractive is something you can carry for a lifetime." I said, you could be old, wrinkled, dried up, and if you know how to talk to people and you smile a lot, or you know how to smile, or you know how to engage people, I promise you, you will not have a problem getting a companion to hang out with you.
Right.
You see me? So I'm going again. That's that maturity, right? Where you're going, I'm slinging. I'm 6'5", 6'6". I'm slinging. Okay, what are you gonna do when you ball like your dad? Because their father's balled. You can see what's on his mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going, what happens when that comes? I said, oh, hopefully I'll be married. I'll still be married. Okay, that's cool. But if you're not, what else do you bring to the table? And the answer is, if you don't know, you got some work to do. Right? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking about because anybody could get money and pay somebody's bills and go or buy them a car or do something. You know what I mean? Anybody
Right.
could do that.
Right.
But how long can you do it? By the way, how long do you want to do it?
Right.
Does it have to be about that? Is that what it is? And I got to tell you, when you think about somebody wanting you because you're the only thing left, and you got a couple of nickels, it can't feel good. And so it's almost like prostitution, right? You're going, I bought this. And so when a new one comes out, I buy that one too.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to, you know what? She did reach across and open the door. I opened it, went around, opened the door for her, stuffed her in the car, put the belt on her to show her that I care about what happens to her. And I walked back around to my side, and she's sitting there powdering her face, and you out there in the rain coming down the whole nine, right? And you go, what kind of female, what kind of human being is so into themselves that they can't realize that I did a service for love's sake or like's sake or whichever it is, but you don't really want to serve me except in a place that you think you matter, and that's in the bed, as if the whole experience is new. Like it's the first time you're gonna get some
Mm-hmm.
hoochie coochie, right?
Right.
First time, and like that is gonna make any man stay. It's not happening.
Unfortunately,
It,
it
it's,
doesn't.
it's dime a
It
dozen,
never
bro.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So, like I said before, I definitely appreciate your insight. Tito, we need to do a second part with him. What do you think? A part two? Yeah. What you say? Yeah. You think we can do a part two? I know you kind of pressed for time today.
I ain't pressed, man. I told you, man. It's what it is. I'm gonna get there, and they're gonna be appreciative that I showed up because that's life unfolding, right?
Because you were in a region where um, it's 1,000 to 1, right?
Eh, yes, but that's not for me. That
What do you mean?
well, let me. I like who I like, and let me tell you
Okay.
something. I never trusted love, but I've been in love, right?
Okay.
I trust like, and what I can tell you about like has no expectations except decency, right?
Okay.
So when I said, "Oh snap, I forgot," that was your notice. Number two, not to because you want to do this. I'm happy about it. Go ahead, I'll catch up to you, right? If I don't show up, hey, I'm sorry I couldn't make it. I was doing something with a good dude of mine, a good friend of mine, and I said it was blessing me too because I want to be in this space. So if you got it, I'm not having the rest of that conversation about whether you have an attitude about it or not, or whether you know what I mean. I'm not
Hmm.
having that conversation because I'm going. It's irrelevant. The time is going. The concert has started. You should be enjoying it, right? Because guess what? I could have been going on time and got struck by a vehicle on the way there, right? You mad at
Now
me
you
because
know
I
it's a
got
good
struck?
chance that she may see this right in the future.
Yeah, yeah, I'm good.
Oh,
I'm
you
good.
cool? Okay. All right.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
listening.
bro. I told you, yo, I live my life, man. And
Okay.
that's the beauty of knocking on 60 and knocking on 50, knocking on 40. When you going, hey, your time is a benefit to me, and mine is a benefit to you. But it's the one thing we can never get back, and so we have to strike when opportunity presents itself, right? I'm going. That's an enjoyable thing, right? But I didn't know about it 2 weeks ago. I did know 2 weeks ago that I want to be in that podcast space with my new book and back in that motivational speaking thing I was doing, making, good change, but also changing lives. And so I'm going, when I do this, I'm going, there'll be another concert and I'll take it. But what is the opportunity here? What if you and I and my man, the producer, get something that becomes something big, that we have a fusion here and we go, oh man, we got something here. We need to do this. I'm okay with doing another show. I'm not okay with missing the opportunity to learn something and to impart and to impact.
Right.
Because all I got is what little time I have left. And it's so important for me to keep working at something that informs my legacy, informs yours and anybody else's who's interested in what the wisdom of two old brothers, black men, brothers, that kind of brother,
Right.
you know, it's important not to die with that and make the next generation or generation that follows start over. I'm going,
Absolutely.
if you want to know, I got daughters too, and I'm going, hey, did I not tell you that one PhD, two Ivy Leaguers, right?
Hmm.
And I promise you, I told them when they went to school and then when they got into the Ivy Leagues and ended with the PhD, I said, but don't ever forget, you still need a companion. I don't, just a new world, dudes and dudes, girls and girls, it's a new world. I don't care what you do, but you're going to need companionship. Don't let anybody fool you and tell you don't. You might not need a cohabiter, meaning you might not want anybody living with you. But I said at some point, human touch is important. They've
Hmm.
done studies that show that babies that don't get hugged end up, sociopaths and
Right.
psychopaths and all those
Right.
kind of things. And so I'm going, this is part of it. It's no less important than the degree that puts food in your belly and keeps the roof over your head. And so for me, bruh, I have all the time in the world to add a little spice for a show, a movie, a trip to the whatever, a trip to wherever, whatever. I'm going, but how many times again do I get to interact with folk who are still doing things, still going places, still looking to learn, and still looking to teach, right?
Right.
I'm going, that to me is the priority. That is the priority, not the Florida A&M game. You know what I mean? Not
Right.
the classic or the CI. I'm going, those are cool. Those
Right.
experiences, cool. But these things that we do now, there's going to be able to be searched, and other people who may not know Eli Breeden, who, sorry about that, Eli
It's
or
a, it's
Todd.
all it's all good. It's all good. They
Bro,
it's
but
on the book,
listen,
so it's okay.
gotcha. My
It's
bad.
on the podcast
But
too.
that's right. My bad. My bad. But what I'm saying is that the fact that you have taken the initiative to do it, and that I have taken the request to participate, says that we understand that our time here is limited.
Right.
And so, what is your legacy? What do you want it to be? How do you inform that? How do you shape that so that if you have children or nephews or nieces or just people in general, when you're gone, you're gone. But if you leave something for them, it means that a generation of people can grow, can learn, can benefit from the things that you do now. And I just think that that is a better use of my time than listening to Phyllis Hyman, who I can get on here, right? Because she's not the one singing, somebody else singing her songs. I got them. I saw her while she was still alive.
Right.
Angela Bofield, I saw him. So I'm going, that's cool. I want to do it. But this, when it came up, I'm going, this was more important. That's why I didn't say, hey, man, why don't we push this to another day? Because I got the call late to remind me that I was supposed to do this. And I'm going, right, listen, I'm sorry, I'll take you to another show. Right?
I appreciate that, but I'm gonna allow you to do both today because
Yeah.
I
All
don't
right.
want
Well,
you
that's cool.
to not
Well,
miss
listen, it's
out
been
on
a privilege and a pleasure to speak with
potential
you.
companionship. I'm listening. I'm sorry.
I said, it's been a privilege and a pleasure to speak with you. And I
Absolutely,
hope
my
that's
brother.
something I said here. Hmm?
I was just saying, absolutely, my brother.
Yeah. I hope that, because I really do love women. I love them. I don't like them. I love them. And to give them a peep into the mind, and I think that was your intro,
Hmm.
if I recall, that you wanted to show, to give a foreshadowing of how men think, not to say that women are bad or stupid, or
No,
but to say, if you understand us,
right.
life could be better for you too.
Absolutely.
And I think that that was a powerful thing. And I read it. I actually went back up and looked. I told you I bought the book.
Yeah, yeah, I
I've been
remember.
moving around.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm moving around. But I wanted to make certain that I looked at what I could look at, and I was going, yeah, that's exactly what we ought to be doing. Is going here. I have to be transparent and clear, so that we have no misunderstandings, and so that uh, if there's any way for me to enhance your life, you're going to get the best of me,
Right.
and vice versa. And it
Absolutely.
starts with and ends with the same thing. How do we communicate with each other, right? Are we are they getting the message that we're giving, and vice versa? Are they receiving? We're transmitting, blah blah blah, all that wonderful stuff in communication. I'm going. Most times I'm not certain, and so I have learned personally in my own experience, in my own communications, in the work life and play. I'm going. I'm always going. And so, is there another way I can say this to you so you can be clear? Or I give them a test that they don't really understand as a test. I'm going, so tell me what you thought you heard. And most of the time, ooh, let me say it a little clearer. Because if I'm saying something and you're not hearing, you're hearing it but not understanding, what is the value? And vice versa. So I'm searching for people to be able to communicate to me so that I can grow. I want to make sure that I give them the same benefit. Anyway, having said all that, man, I've taken way too much of your time, my brother.
Absolutely not, man. We appreciate your insight. And guys, we'll do a part two. He has a show to catch, but we'll
Yes,
we'll
sir.
do a part two to this. Are you up to that, Todd?
Sure. Yeah, we just schedule it and we'll make it happen.
Okay, sounds good. Guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this video. We have a lot more content that we're going to be working on in the future. And we look forward, or I should say, look forward to the next episode. And we appreciate you guys tuning in today. And thank you. Thank you, Todd. We appreciate
You're
you.
welcome. No doubt.
On the south side, or do what they do in the movies, watch planes fly to the sky. Don't know what to do with myself, not used to this alone time. Every day, rocking my nerves, so I better go. I need some peace, yeah. Need some peace on right now, solo. Prevent going crazy, time to myself. So